In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an animated Glassmorphic interactive icon for settings in Figma. This is a part of a series of videos where I create icons exactly like this. I already created analytics, content, dashboard, and profile, and this one will be the last of icons. And then I'm planning to create another video where I will use all of these to build an interactive menu. So a menu with animated icons, basically. If you'd like to see that, definitely stay tuned for upcoming videos. In this video, I'm going to be using these icons that we created previously as a guide for our latest icon. This means that I will probably be glossing over certain details, and if that becomes confusing for you and you would like to maybe see the whole process and hear me explain it in full detail, go and watch my first video on analytics, where everything is covered in full detail. And now let's actually start creating the final icon. I'm going to use the analytics icon and then create an instance that I will detach. I will rename this settings, and all of these icons are a different color. You can see that we already did blue, red, yellow, and green, and I thought that for settings it would be nice to use something neutral, so I'm going for dark gray or just gray. So I'm going to change this color to gray like this. I'm also going to change the radial gradient on top of this to white, and the inner shadow is gonna be gray. Whoops, actually I didn't change this to gray. That would have to be around here. Yep, and inner shadow, that would be here. A darker one, we can keep the lighter one, that's blue, white. And then all of these individually, and then the inner shadow will also be gray like this, and this is a gradient, this may be partially visible, as well as the shadow, the gray rectangle, that's gonna be gray as well. I'll just make it black like this. Awesome, so you can see that we now have a completely colorless black and white icon, which is what we wanted. I'm gonna increase the opacity of the gradient maybe. And now let's create the settings icon. I'm gonna use the rectangle tool to create our base rectangle for the settings icon. It's gonna be 10 by, let's say 36, or maybe, yeah, and then duplicate that, rotate that 90 degrees, duplicate that again, center that, and then rotate that 45 degrees, and then duplicate again, enter again, enter again. Okay, so I think these lines are too thick, so why don't we change that to 8? Again, we need to center everything. Just gonna redo this. That's 90 degrees, 45 degrees. Yeah, like this. And then I'm gonna select the ellipse tool and place that over this group of rectangles. So now this already starting to look like settings icon. So like a gear, I'm gonna duplicate this, then go here to create a union, and then use again an ellipse, place that in the middle, gonna be 14 pixels like this. Yeah. And then select both of these, and then subtraction, and I'm gonna round the corners of this icon. The nice thing about using this approach where you are using subtractions and unions, I can like change the size of this, which will nicely update the whole shape, so we can, you don't really have to commit to any change, and you can easily edit everything. That's good. I'll maybe make this looks a bit like a flower actually, or maybe more sharp. And then this, perhaps. This looks sufficiently like settings icon. I'm gonna turn this to white, and then just let's examine how to make it look more like the bars here. So you can see that it has a drop shadow, this bar, and it also has an inner shadow. Here are the specific values, but I'm not gonna be setting this up again. I'm just gonna select this and select these effects, Command C and Command V. That saves you a ton of time, by the way, so it's good to remember that you can actually copy and paste files and effects and everything. I'm removing this, then Command X, select this and paste. We pasted this inside the settings frame. So right now, that's the settings icon. And thanks to these effects, it now looks as if the object looks 3D a little bit. So that's thanks to inner shadows. And what's really cool about this is that I can still update the shape like this. I can still do this, and it updates the whole shape along with all the effect. But I don't want to do that, that's the advantage of a non-destructive approach. So I do recommend doing that. I'm gonna remove this. Yeah, you can see how it fits in nicely with the rest of the icons. We are now ready to start preparing individual states. I'm gonna turn this into a component and then create a variant. This variant is gonna be called active, and this one is gonna be called default, and the whole property is gonna be called state, right? And now I'm gonna select this gray rectangle and just stretch it out to the full width and height of the container frame. So it's gonna be this big. And also then this icon right here, I'm gonna move that so that it's centered against the frame. What we need to do now is adjust the corner rounding of this rectangle, so 45. And maybe decrease visibility of this gradient to around, yeah, this is better. I'm gonna also set the opacity of the text that we previously reused from the previous version, and then just move that closer to here and make sure the distance is 17.5 pixels plus 17.5, right, 35 from the right, but it's not gonna be not gonna say analytics, but settings. So we need to decrease the width of the rectangle by 12, so that's gonna be 251, and now it will be 35, 250.5. Now that'll fix dimensions. Not that it matters, I'm just trying to be consistent. And to be truly consistent, I'm gonna select this, group this, and then set the position to 17.5, and then ungroup that again. And we have the default and the active state. Awesome. Now I'm gonna create a hover state, and the hover state, I'm just gonna select the default state and then click the plus, select these two and switch the order around. In this hover state, what's gonna happen is this is gonna move to 17.5. This is gonna be centered against the background. This is gonna change the size 75 by 75, this dark square. It's gonna be centered against this second square. Position will be 7.5, and then the corner rounding is gonna be 24. Awesome, so we have the default state, the hover state, and then the active state. You can see that with all of these icons, when you hover over the icon, something changes. So in terms of this analytics icon, for example, the size of the bars is changing. So why don't we do something like the rotation, the gear icon, right? Let's say it will rotate 90 degrees and also increase in size when you hover over this icon. I think that could look, that could be cool. Yeah, and now we just need to set up the prototype. So I'm gonna select the settings icon, new component, and then select the first state. Click and drag this over here. So that would be while hovering, change to state 3. And first we're gonna have to fix the name. It's not gonna be state 3, but that's gonna be hover, right? So now it will say, while hovering, change to state hover, smart animate, ease in and out, 200 milliseconds. Now when you click the hover state, that's gonna on click, change to state active, smart animate, ease in and out, 200 milliseconds. And finally, from the active state, we can drag here. That would be mouse leave, change to state default, smart animate, ease in and out, 200 milliseconds, and this should be finished. So let us move this here, and I'm gonna place an instance of the settings icon right below all of these. You can see that it all follows a unified design language. It's just very consistent and also will behave the same. Let's test our results. So this is what happens. I hover and the wheel rotates. I think the rotation is a bit too much. We're gonna have to fix that. When I click the settings, text appears, but it doesn't fly from the right side as with the these different icons. So we're gonna fix that. The reason for this is the layer naming. So in this state, the layer name is settings, but in these two states, the layer name is analytics. I'm going to change that to settings and also type in settings. Same here, settings, and then yeah, that updates automatically. And also that rotation is a bit too much, so we're going to change that to minus 45 degrees. Let's reset this. Yeah, that looks better. When we click it, it flies in from the right side, similar to other icons. Now it behaves absolutely consistently in line with all the rest. So this is the final result. These are all 5 icons, and in my next video I'm gonna prepare a menu from all of these, so stay tuned for that and make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this walkthrough, please leave a like and check out my channel for more tutorials on Figma, UX, UI and digital design. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.